The Bears head up to Minnesota against their division rivals, the Vikings, for the second time, for their second matchup this season, and they lay a goddamn egg. I've been making an unpopular opinion pretty recently about um, reasons to maybe sit Caleb out for the rest of the season. And I know it's unrealistic. I know how the NFL works. I know it doesn't happen. And it's unrealistic because the NFL operates off desperation, right? Thomas Brown wants a win. Your best chance to win is Caleb, period. Right. But that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do in the long term, in the long grand scheme of things, which is what I want. Right. Like I want Caleb to pan out the best way he can. And man, if this isn't like how to ruin a quarterback 101, I mean, dude, it is just, we might as well start writing the damn textbook on it, Dave, because some of the comments I get, well, he's not injured. Why would you sit him if he's not injured? It's just like, dude, do you people not realize what pain is? Accumulation of hits over 15 NFL weeks, week after week after week after week. Sure, he's, first of all, everybody's injured by this point, right? Second of all, yeah, he's not injured as in like nothing's torn. Like he can still move all his limbs. You can't tell me that kid's not hurt. Look at, he can't sit straight during the game. He's falling down on the bench. It's ugly. I really wanted to avoid this. I really want to avoid this moving forward. I know, like I said, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but man, I have just been battling it mentally, trying to hear other people's sides of it, trying to make some sense of it. And just no one's given me a solid argument of why we should throw this kid in the lion's den and just let him go out there and die for the next 3 weeks. I don't get it. I know it's unorthodox. It's just me, man. I, at this point, would just pull the plug on the season based off the situation, the unique situation that this team is at. I mean, it's all lost. Man, you're better off giving the kid a clipboard, letting him finally just rest up, and just going back at it again next year.
We talked about it every week we do this. It gets a little bit more challenging to kind of discuss it and find silver linings and everything. But the more I thought about it yesterday, the more I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I agree at this point. There's a lot of comparisons that you can use to why it's a good idea. Bryce Young was forced to just be thrown out there, and you could see what that did to him at the beginning of the next year. So the direct comparison, the most recent memory kind of comparison is Bryce Young towards the end of last year was bad. Really, really bad. And then the beginning of this year, he was really bad. And when he got a minute to breathe and relax and kind of recalibrate, he kind of fixed himself. So I think that's a situation that Caleb's already in. Dude, he got 15 games of real-time snaps and a lot of throw attempts. Like at this point, yes, the rookie season is the hardest, but I don't think anything else that happens at this point is going to be a net positive.
They're really close to giving up. You can't do it to the fans who pay to see the best players. However, I think Polsky's coming from a loving place. I'm always coming from a loving place. I want what's best for Caleb. Like that is my number one goal in this thought process. And Sam, I go to the games. I am one of those fans that pays to go and see the players. At this point, like nothing about this season's gonna make me happy. Like there's, it's about next year at this point, man. And so like if that's where your head's at next year moving forward, which is where mine's at, then you're gonna make the best choices for that. And like for this year, I don't care, man. Go out there and put out whoever. It won't matter. I don't think they'll win a game regardless.
Yeah. We've said it since we've started doing this as our hobby, right? That we're never going to be loyal to a person. We're never going to be loyal to Justin Fields or Ryan Poles or Eberflus or whatever. We're loyal to the Bears. So for whatever reason, we were sucked into this trap that we're stuck in, and it is what it is, right? So we are looking out from, I think me and Paul both look at it from a loving place. We want this team to eventually be good and win playoff games and get to watch that and all that stuff. So Caleb, direct comparison wise, I don't think you're gaining much else. You've gotten 15 games worth of real-time snaps or 14 games. That's enough, I think, out of a rookie season. Some rookies play and then they miss 2 or 3 games out of injuries in the middle, and it's still considered a full rookie season or a full enough, experience. So I think at this point we're doing the optional choice, right? Which is to sit him and everything. The other point of that I think supports your point is I think at this point we've seen enough from Thomas Brown. We know for a fact he's not going to be here at this point. And if he is, it's not as a head coach capacity. It's going to be as like an offensive coordinator by some weird miracle or whatever weird shenanigans that you pull. So that part doesn't matter. It's not about learning his system and gelling even more and understanding, the playbook better. This playbook's going to be scrapped by next year anyway. So who the hell cares? He's not learning this in the next 3 games to make him better and more efficient at it. Who cares? And then the most important part, and this is a little bit more speculative, right? The same way we joke, like we care about this team more than the McCaskies at this point. I mean, it is just kind of what it is. Like we joke about that, but it's it is what it is. Like we are serious about it. We're realists about it. We care. The same way I think this is speculative, but you've got like Braxton Jones, right, with concussion-like symptoms 12 hours before a game starts. You've got Gervon Dexter, who still has a tweaked knee the same day his daughter is being born, right? Like
Sounds like these guys learned something from Nate Davis.
If they learned anything from Nate Davis, it was going to be that. And I'm not blaming them. If I'm Braxton Jones in a contract year next year, I'm not putting my body out on the line for this. I don't blame him at all. If I'm Gervon Dexter, absolutely, dude, miss that game for the birth of your first child. 100%. You should do that. If you were in like a playoff race and this is like a game for the division against Minnesota, I'd be singing a different tune. But absolutely, I think I'm not saying this speculatively in the negative. I'm saying it in the positive. You should do that, dude. You should miss this game. You should absolutely do that. But if we're talking about a team that the rest of the team doesn't have to try as hard, then why the hell is Caleb Williams out there? If no one else around him is working this hard or starting games or playing games and showing up to games, you should not be bashing in the brains of your future. And that is, at the end of the day, he's the only thing positive that you can kind of net positive gain out of this season. And so,
yeah, 100%. Everybody else gets to make a business decision.
Yeah,
everybody else does.
Huge positive. And Caleb Williams is such a competitive, tough son of a bitch that, like we said, the realistic part, probably not going to be able to bench him because I don't think he'll let you bench him. I think he'll go like, you're going to have to pull me out of there with my claws in the ground because he's like a competitive bastard, which I love. But at this point, you need to like save him from himself.
Yep.
And just maybe not, like you said, plan for the future. So I'm the negatives outweigh the positives and the positives outweigh the negatives for the reason to bench him at this point. You're not going to gain much, but you have so much to lose. So I'm with you on the whole.
Yeah. And like, Carl brought up something when I was texting him back and forth. He goes, man, a 4-touchdown dominant performance would do him so well. Like it would benefit him so much mentally as well as the rest of this team. It's just like, okay, yes, that's true. They're now on an 8-game losing streak. I get that. Like that type of game would be beneficial just for the sheer mentality of it all. What's the likelihood that they're going to go out there and dominate anybody? Not very likely, man. Like it's way more likely that you go out there and just get the kid killed. Right. So like you have to outweigh those things. You really do. And dude, now all I think it took was that first sack fumble in that game.
Mm-hmm.
To just be like, damn it, dude. Like this is when you see what it looks like, it's not pretty. Why do we need to sit here afterwards and just talk about, the value of in-game reps and this and that? People don't understand. Those in-game reps can become detrimental to your future. If they're not positive reps. There's nothing positive about the situation. Like what good are you doing?
I don't necessarily believe that Caleb's going to be broken. I think he's that tough and mentally competitive, and we'll find out in the next 2 to 3 years because we always say you need 3 years. But you can see some happy feet starting already. You can see it. I can see it. You can see where he does have a clean pocket for once, 1 out of 6 dropbacks, and you can see him start to kind of do that Justin Fields look around and kind of start to panic. There's never like a confident step through, step up, and then a clean pocket all the way through to a completion. It's always stepping through traffic, weaving, bobbing. The guy's already playing hero ball because he has to, which in all reality, it's funny and ironic because that's what he had to do at USC, and now that's what he has to do here. And so imagine, a guy who would have been like a Bo Nix, he would have just been obliterated all season. So it's irrelevant, but I think the other part of that is, what you said with Carl and giving them the confidence. I guess I agree in theory. The difference is that the guys who are still playing hard are guys that for me, Kyler Gordon has earned that second contract. We asked this at the beginning of the year about Kyler Gordon, about Jaquan Brisker. Who do you want to see here? Kyler Gordon's still playing his ass off in useless games. Maybe it's for the contract. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But the guys that are still playing super, super hard are either hardcore veterans who are playing really hard because they know that this is a job and this is how you got to perform week to week for whatever reason, or the young, dumb kids who are going to be here anyway. Caleb is still balling out because he doesn't know any better. He doesn't know how to save his body and, pace himself and save it for the games that matter. This is like the same conversation that you have about Patrick Mahomes when he wouldn't know when to run out of bounds early on in his career. And now he just knows that he just shouldn't even scramble, just get rid of the ball, live another down. And then me and you talk about this all the time. When does Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards triple, quadruple in the playoffs? Because that's when it counts and that's when it matters. So he's learned that through the seasons that he's been playing. But right now, I mean, the change is coming. This is going to be every week that goes by. This went from a team that people were predicting 12 wins, 13 wins. This is a rebuild team. This is a overhaul team. And we can get into that later, but it's more likely that the guys who you're saying you're going to build the confidence for by winning by 4 touchdowns, they're going to be on different teams. So who cares?
Dude, everything you said was spot on. I mean, dude, I watched a guy like Brady when his tackle missed an assignment and there's a free rush coming, he just throws the ball at the ground, look to play another down. That's why he played till he was 45. You know what I mean? There is this stuff adds up. This stuff adds up. This is not the way you want to start this kid's career off, man. And you already did it, and it's already gone far enough. And like you said, 15 games or 15 weeks, 14 games, it's plenty. That is plenty for the kid to put in his back pocket to be able to sit there and learn from this season. You don't need to go out there and keep doing this to him, man. Like, I just, other than stat chasing and number chasing, I don't see what you're doing here. I really don't.
Jim Daniels missed 2 games this season, and people are going to say he played a full season and had plenty of experience and plenty of practice. And if Caleb has to sit the last 2 games because we don't want him to die or get really, really hurt, then that's what it is. He still played the same amount as the rookie of the year or whoever else, the other best quarterback. So it is what it is. You just gotta sit him and save it for next year. This is all about new regimes and new changes and new teams, because this is not sustainable. There's no point.
Not sustainable at all. And frankly, it's stupid, in my opinion. And like I said, I know it's unorthodox because it just doesn't happen. Teams don't sit their guys like this, but this is a very unique situation. And like I said, it's fueled by desperation, not by intelligence and logic here, right? So the fact that Thomas Brown he needs to win. He's trying to, beef up his resume here. So Caleb does give him the best chance to win. At what cost? I don't think he even cares. He's not going to be here next year. What does he care, right? So, it's rough, man. And that's where I look at Ryan Poles, because it's like, dude, this needs to be on you. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not typically supposed to make personnel decisions like this, but this is a crazy situation that they're in, and the last thing we need to do is ruin the only good thing we have. And dude, and I looked into this a little bit, so I asked you this, when we're talking about the number of sacks Caleb has, which is at 58 currently, any quarterback in their entire career that has had one season, not even the rookie season, just one season where they've gotten sacked more than 58 times does not have a Super Bowl ring, except for Mark Brunell, and he was like a backup that didn't even play one game when he got it, right at the very end of his career. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying it hasn't happened. Two different things, right? And so you should still take that into consideration where, this stuff really does ruin guys and mess with guys. I mean, Peyton Manning has a rookie all-time interception record. He learned from that. You could learn from those mistakes. There's nobody's been out there that's just gotten their head bashed in like this and actually learned from it. Now, there have been some quarterbacks that have gotten sacked more than 50 times in a year. Some of them have even won a Super Bowl during that year. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not I'm not willing to live and die by that statistic. However, there's still 3 games left. Like, you're on really the only comparison you have here is David Carr. Rookie got sacked 76 times. Just like Prometheus said here, man, he saw ghosts throughout his career because of sacks. He did really early on. We're asking so much of Caleb. Not only to change the culture here, to change the history of what Bears quarterbacks are, this and that, we're also asking him to be the Iron Man of the NFL.
And to overcome all these adversities at this point.
Yeah, right. Correct. And so, Prometheus, you're right. Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions his rookie year. Good stuff.
Yeah, to add to that, like, that's part of it, right? And people were talking about 4,000 yards and rookie NFL records and all this stuff. Right now, 1 year later, the trajectory for Caleb in best case scenario is either Baker Mayfield or, I mean, what are his best career projections right now based on history, right? So it's all bad, man. You gotta fix this. This is why you had to be, like we keep saying, a year ahead instead of a year behind, because now you're trying to save the day and stop this is the lifeboats on the Titanic, right? We're trying to cover the Titanic hole with a piece of gum. And so unless you are able to fix this, then I feel there would be nothing worse in my Bears fandom history than ruining Caleb Williams. I would literally, it might be worse than the double doink. It might be worse than losing the Super Bowl. It might be worse than all of it. I guess not the Super Bowl, but I can't imagine anything worse watching it happen in real time than ruining Caleb Williams, because he's so goddamn good.
Yeah, and I mean, despite all that stuff, he still had a pretty impressive rookie year so far.
Really,
stat wise, yeah. You know what I mean?
I think everything, eye test wise, stat wise, everything, he has been excellent.
Now, there's still some stuff. I mean, there's always going to be some stuff you could do better. There's still some easy completions he's missing. There's still some things like that he needs to work on, that you need to get better. It's hard to pinpoint those things and be able to work on them when chaos is going all around you, right? So, like, every play you're dealing with a chaotic situation, and then the one time you get a clean pocket and you miss an empty throw, you're going to get burned for it in the media, and people are going to take screenshots of it and be like, see, look. And it's like, dude, how can you expect somebody to perform like that when the consistency is just not there? Now, if there was consistent, good pockets, and he's consistently missing open throws and stuff like that, it's a different situation. But no, like you said, kids already run around. Dude, I told you, I already started seeing it. To me, there's a little joke going around that it's like, oh, this looks like when somebody mashes buttons in Madden, because Caleb's running around, and at one point he just like jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this kid's thinking somebody's already diving at me when they're not. This is already seeing ghosts. It's already happening in front of us. He's already, oh man, it starts. You start losing control, man. You start losing control. These decisions you make when running out of the pocket and things like that start becoming less of you manipulating things and having the game slow down for you. No, nothing's slowing down for you. Your heart's pumping, everything's going too fast because nobody wants to get hit this much.
Sorry, I just thought that was a pretty funny comment from Ryan Poles himself. We need more receivers.
That is exactly what would fix this. 100%.
That's what Ryan Poles would actually say. Yeah. So
no, that's great. That's funny.